Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome. We're so happy you can join us for our webinar from manual to automated, enhancing performance in palletizing. My name is Sylvie Lorty, and I'm here to present to you a great webinar with a wonderful speaker, very passionate lady named Mandy Turner. So I am joining you live from Montreal, Canada, as you can probably see with my French-Canadian accent. And I could see that you guys are joining us from everywhere. We have people from Florida, people from Europe, also Germany, France, people from San Francisco, even a gentleman from Hawaii. Lucky guy. We're very happy to be with you. And please, let me introduce you quickly. Our speaker, her name is Mandy Turner. She's a mechanical engineer from South Carolina. She has extensive knowledge, of course, by working at Pallet. She also worked at JR Automation, Michelin Tires, and ProMac. Over there, she designed and sold custom robotic solutions. She has technical knowledge in PLC, electrical design, and of course, robotics. So you guys are in very good hands. I will let her take over, but before doing so, I need to add that you feel free to send us any question you have during the webinar. We will not answer your question right away. We'll keep that for the very end of the webinar. But rest assured, if we don't have time to answer all of them, we will make sure to reach out and send you the information you need. All right? So without further delay, please let me introduce you to our speaker, Mandy Turner. Hi, Mandy.
Hey, Sylvie, thanks for the introduction. I am so excited to be here with you guys today to talk about robotic palletizing. It's something I'm really passionate about. As you've heard, I've done a lot with robotics my entire life. I wanted to start off with a common question I get. A lot of people will ask me, aren't robots taking away jobs? Isn't this a bad thing, Mandy? Why are you selling robotics as taking away jobs? And I can see how you initially think that. The robots might take away the job of the person stacking up there. But the data shows it actually creates a lot more jobs through palletizing. As the plant gets more efficient, more products come through. We're able to give those operators who were doing that very dull job or even some other dirty and dangerous jobs, we're giving them a lot more value add positions and helping the company. So it's really a win-win for everything. And I like to draw a comparison to computers. A lot of people thought when computers first came out, they were taking a lot of jobs. And now think of how many millions and millions of jobs have been created from computers. So we're just at the start of it, and I'm so excited to see what robotic automation can do in the future. We're here today to talk about cobot palletizing. And while you might typically think of some larger robots, cobots have a really sweet space in the automation space. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that today. Let's jump on into it. Today, we're going to be talking about an intro to Vention, why you might choose Vention to be your automation partner. Then I'll dive into some key components to the success of your first palletizing project, what to be looking out for there, and how to build that up. Then we'll dive into Vention's manufacturing automation platform. I'll talk a little bit about how we work with clients and some success that we've had. And then, of course, some time for Q&A. So Vention does a lot. It's hard to sum up in one slide. I mean, we'd need an 8-hour webinar for me to go through everything. But I love this slide because it does a great job of showing how Vention is an end-to-end platform that can help you with everything that you need on your industrial automation journey. From designing it to automating it, ordering, and then operating in the field, Vention is going to be with you every step of the way. And the best way to think about it is you're never starting with a blank sheet of paper. You're always moving to the next step with everything you have from the step before and building on top of that, making it easy to deploy this in record times with a lot of cost saving. Now I'm going to show you this video that sums it up a lot better than I do with some graphics showing you how we can do everything from simple workstations to more complex palletizers with our cloud-first self-serve platform.
Vention brings simple industrial automation to all manufacturers. Design automated equipment in your web browser. Receive in days, deploy in minutes. You know your manufacturing floor best. We provide the tools to automate it. MAP is a first-of-its-kind manufacturing automation platform that allows you to design, automate, order, and deploy automated equipment in a single environment. Designed using thousands of modular and plug-and-play parts with proven compatibility. Or choose from our library of ready-to-deploy designs. Create powerful automation sequences in your web browser and validate through simulation. No coding required. Once you've received your equipment, deploy automation from the cloud to your factory floor in minutes. Continue to monitor your machines remotely. This is the future of manufacturing automation. This is manufacturing automation simplified. Start automating today with Vention.
Perfect. I love that video. It does such a great overview of what Vention can offer. We'll dig into it a little bit more through here. So who is Vention? Have you heard of them before? Have you worked with them at all? We were founded 8 years ago with the sole mission to simplify industrial automation. We're headquartered out of Montreal, Canada. It's a beautiful place to visit that I would highly recommend visiting in the summer. We have close to 18,000 machines in the field running today, and we sell about 200 robot arms per year and growing. We work with all kinds of customers and all manufacturing. If you have a pallet going out of your facility with parts on it, you're a good fit for industrial automation. So we'd love to talk to you about that, whatever field you're in. Let's dig into a little bit of the key components that are going to make your palletizing solution successful. So first, let's think about some of the typical palletizing solutions that are out in the field that you might typically think of before you think of a cobot. Over here on the left-hand side, this is a high-level palletizer. It doesn't have a robot in it. These are some of the oldest forms of palletizers that you see. They do have a time and place for more high-speed applications, but some of the red flags that I see that might not make it a great fit for every application is the safety can be a little outdated on that. With that high level, building a pallet up high, as you can see as the pallet cases come in, building it up and then moving it down, that can be a pinch point through there. So there's been some issues with that. And this is set for very high volume applications and does take up quite a large footprint here. Then in the middle one you see, this is an industrial robotic palletizer. And while we do build these, this is actually a cell that we've done. This isn't a great fit for every application because these tend to be pretty expensive. They have a large footprint, as you can see, and it is a very long lead time. Usually we're looking 20 to 30 weeks easily for a system like this. To build it out this much. And it's a little bit of the robot lead time, all the different components there. It does take a while to get that. And then, of course, we have manual labor too. It's probably what most of you guys have in your plant now. Just looking at this picture already hurts my back. I feel like I need to do some stretches now. But some of the problems with this is obviously ergonomics. Being bent over or trying to reach high is going to be difficult. It's a low value add job at the end of the day. Your operators who are showing up on time every day, they're very valuable and they can be doing something much more valuable than this all day long. And then labor shortages. Everybody's been affected by labor shortages lately. So that's one thing to consider if that's impacting you. We have a solution for that. And one thing I don't even have on here, but as you can see here, the pallet pattern, the stack pattern, it isn't as tight and it's a little wobbly. And so as your pallet gets higher, that might make it difficult. Your stack might fall over as you're transporting it. So something to think about there too. And while all of these do have a time and place, this doesn't fit for a lot of manufacturers who are looking for more small applications to handle their outlet lines. So let's take a look at what could be a good solution for that. This is the Vention Rapid Series palletizers. We have been doing cobot palletizers for a while, but we noticed most of our customers were looking for the exact same application. So we productize this to help the lead time, to help the cost, and to help the customer really narrow in on what they want, a proven solution that's ready to go. So let's talk about what applications this would be good for. Here's some of the different models here. And one of the best things about this, I think, is the cost. This price point is very great for a palletizer. You know, they start under 100K, and one of our top models go up to 150K. There's a lot of customizations you can do to that, like adding different conveyors, barcode scanners there. But that is a great price point. And cobot palletizers are great for a rate of about 10 cases per minute, and then a 50-pound payload. with a closed top case, whether it's sealed or glue, sealed with tape or glue, picking from the top with a 50-pound payload is where cobots really shine. They're very quick and easy to configure. We'll dive into the software, which makes it so easy to configure in a little bit. Very quick deployment, a 2-day deployment, and most of that is we get it set up really quick in that 10-minute configuration. Bolt it down. There's just 8 bolts you need to do through on this base here. Get it set up, configured, and a lot of that 2 days is just support to make sure it's running well with your line. This is the most impressive thing, I think, our 5-day lead time. I don't know anybody else in the industry who can get an order for a cobot palletizer and then ship the whole system within 5 days. Order it on a Monday and it'll ship out on a Friday and you can receive it the next week. The timeline is just insane for this. As you can see, we're working with a really compact footprint compared to some of the other solutions that we were looking at earlier. And this is a perfect entry-level robot. If you've never worked with robotics before, this is a great place to get started, build up some of your competencies so you can get to some more complex solutions in the future. A few red flags, just to be fair, that cobot palletizing might not be a good fit for you, is if your case is over 60 pounds. The robot payload, the max right now is 30 kgs for a robot or cobot palletizer. So it's not fully there yet if your case is that heavy. If you have an open top case, think of something you'd see at the Aldi or Costco with that open case where you can't pick it from the top, that would be a red flag. And then over 13 cases a minute might be a red flag there too. Again, there's a lot of edge cases where we can look at this, but that is generally what you're going to be looking at there. So let's talk about collaborative robot safety. How does this not need a fence? How are my operators going to work right around this without having any issues? So the robot, and I have an example here. This is a big industrial one, but hang with me here so we can talk about how robot safety works. The cobot that you're seeing on the screen there, it has the different waypoints that it needs to hit. So point A to point B over here, and it knows how much force it needs to get to that next point. And there's force sensors all along the joints there. So as the robot moves from point A to point B, if it encounters any obstacles or extra force it needs to exert there, it will go into a safety shutdown mode. So it will stop moving, and nobody will get hurt. And they're able to do that because it's moving at such a slow speed. And they measure it in millimeters per second, but it roughly translates into four cases per minute. Roughly translates into 4 cases per minute moving through there with no safety. And then if you do some safety sensors around it, then it can go a little bit faster, up to 8 cases a minute, because you'll have this safety perimeter here. As it can move, you'll see the red zone, orange zone, and yellow zone. So if somebody walks into it, these safety scanners will pick that up and it'll move the robot down to a safer collaborative zone. So if somebody were to get in the way there, it would stop. So there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of calculations behind the scenes, which we're happy to walk through with that. But under that 10 cases per minute, you can move through there. And under 4 cases a minute, you can move without that area scanner footprint around it. Here are a few of the different models that we work with. We are robot agnostic. So we will look at your application and help you figure out which robot is going to be the best. We work with a few different robot manufacturers, Universal Robots, and they have the UR10, the UR20. We also work with Fanuc, and they have the CRX25. And we have this table with some of the general cycle times and payloads that we can work with there. And as you can see, this is starting under $100,000. So now I'm going to show you how easy it is to configure your new box sizes. And I actually just put this data in for a customer the other day. Their case was 21 by 12 by 12 inches, 60 pounds. We were able to configure all of that. You can go through and add slip sheets, build different pallet configurations through here, put in new pallet sizes, create the layout. I really love this. Instead of having to drag every box and place it, you can auto-generate a layout based off the numbers that you plugged in. And it'll give you the optimized layout for that. Then you stack how high, you can put in how high it needs to go, if it needs to be flipped layers back and forth. everything through there. So you see how easy that is? I'm going to teach my grandma how to do this, take some pictures and record her doing this. This is so easy. Anybody can be a robot programmer here. You do not have to go to classes, training. I can teach you how to do this in 5 or 10 minutes. So this will be how you put in new case sizes and configurations through here. Make changes on the fly. So some things that Vention offers, some things that you're going to want to ask before you choose a robot vendor to install your deployment, especially if this is your first time. You're going to want to ask a lot of questions about training, how the safety operates, how they reset it, what kind of training they're going to offer around that. Troubleshooting and maintenance. You want to know some of those main troubleshooting keys to get out of a pinch if you're in a bad spot, or if you're in a shutdown mode so you can get your line back up and running. You're going to have as many SKUs programmed in there as possible from what you know from when you start. But you're also going to know how to program those in the future if you need to. The deployment support that you're going to see, turnkey, always recommend that. That's great to have your system integrator on site with you, helping make sure everything is perfect and signed off and running to your full specs before it goes. Once you start to scale up and can move a lot faster, say you've already had 5 robot palletizers installed, maybe you can get to self-deployed in the future where you learn all this and you can integrate it very fast. So you can make your lead time very fast. You know, you order it on a Monday, Vention will ship it on a Friday, and then you can install it that next week. So we can make it really fast once you really learn the Vention system. And then, of course, you're going to want deployment support, post-deployment support. You're going to want that live on-demand support, remote support, and be able to see all your KPIs and see your machine in the field, which Vention offers. So let's talk a little bit more about our manufacturing automation platform that I touched on at the start here. And I think this is the best way to describe it with this chart. So on our y-axis, we have our payback, our ROI, which is very important. Usually anything under 2 years is fantastic. Anything under 1 year, why isn't it already in the plan? And then on our x-axis here, this is the production volumes. And this is the traditional story that we see. Over here on the far x-axis, production volumes. Think of who has robotics now. I mean, you think of Tesla, you think of big automotives. Those are the people who are typically able to invest in automation because they have very high production volumes and a very expensive product they're selling. So they have the capital and they have the volume to start selling. So that's where we typically have seen traditional automation technologies. But as you can see with some of the lower to medium volume, there is a big gap there where it is very expensive. It's a hard ROI to justify because you're just not making enough products to compete with the Teslas and the big ones at the end of the day. So this is where Vention comes in with our manufacturing automation platform. We're making it a lot easier to get started with automation. We're giving you all the tools in your toolbox to get started and giving you some pre-engineered solutions that you can start running with today. So if you had low volume and in your ROI in the past, when you've looked at these projects, it's been 2, 3, 4 years, we could help get that down even lower with our pre-engineered solutions. And we have a really sweet spot there. And I'd love to take a closer look at that with you in the plant. If you were to invite me into your plant and we could look at some automation opportunities, I'm going to tell you 2 different scores, as we're looking through each application. I'll give you $1 sign, $2 sign, $3 signs, really roughly how much it's going to be there. And I'll also tell you the difficulty of automation. Maybe palletizing would be an easy one, a shoe-in project. It's already been well developed. Maybe something more complicated like primary handling or bin picking would be a little more complicated there. So I'll give you a full score and we can figure out the best ROI to start with for your plan there. And again, this is the process flow that we're working with here: design, automate, order, and deploy. So we're not just offering the software that you've seen on all these videos, we're also offering all the hardware too. On our e-commerce platform, you'll be able to see everything broken out bit by bit, so you can see all the pricing associated with that, the lead time, and you can really narrow in on what's going to be the best solution for you. We're very forward on all the information we give you. You'll have everything you need to make an informed decision at the end of the day. And then, as you can see, kind of small over here on the operate, but you'll see all your different machines in the field. You'll have your KPIs with it. It's a really nice platform to see everything operating in the field, making sure it's working as it's supposed to. And you're dedicating the right time to the right machines and optimizing them. So let's talk a little bit about how we work with clients. I know I touched on remote support in our customer service team, and that's a huge part of this process. You might not think about it at the beginning of the process, but I guarantee you're going to wish you were thinking about it at the end of the process. One of my favorite things that you can see in this picture here on the right is our HMI. We have a camera on the front and a camera on the back. So it's essentially like the FaceTiming with our customer service. And they have a 10-minute response time. You can call them up directly from the HMI there, and they'll be able to work with you. They'll see your machine, they'll see all your KPIs. If you're connected through remote support and plugged in, they'll be able to answer you within 10 minutes and get those problems solved. We just see about 80–90% of problems can be solved remotely, just a software reset or a quick thing that's able to be reset there. I'd love to give you a full demo of that and tell you more about our software. I am really impressed with that. I haven't seen many other things like that where you can quickly call. You're not having to call phone numbers and go to voicemail and all of this. You're able to quickly connect right from your HMI all in one system there. Then let's talk about some client success stories. How have we been able to help our customers quickly deploy this? So this customer was, of course, having a problem with labor, and they had a lot of complicated SKUs to keep up with. They were changing layouts, various different layouts. It was very labor intensive keeping up with that. And they weren't actually able to palletize a few of their SKUs because they were so high up. They had to be dedicated to a certain person or another process over there because they were so high up, over 100 inches high. So they weren't even able to palletize those SKUs where they were traditionally palletizing. We came in and we were able to come up with a solution for them within a few weeks, get this sent out, and we were able to help them achieve their pallet heights over 100 inches because we used our telescopic base. So as you can see here, this robot can reach somewhere around 70 inches up to the top. But if we put this telescopic base, where we can have our typical robot base in here, and something embedded, another base embedded with it, so we can telescope up, and the robot will be able to reach much higher heights. So you can really optimize your pallet patterns and get more pallet density throughout there. They were doing about 8 cases a minute. They were able to reallocate 7 different employees to higher priority tasks. This was an 18-month return on investment, and they got more functionality out of it. So a win-win for that. And I'm sure those operators are much happier not having to do this every day. I bet their backs feel a lot better. Another project I want to highlight, this one actually had less than a 1-year payback. And again, less than a 1-year payback. Why isn't it already in the plan? It's a great place to start. They were working with a few different SKUs here. Flip sheets were required. And this timeline was very, very fast here. From our initial call and discussion, 12 weeks later, 12 weeks, about 3 months, they had a completed robot on their floor, completed the site acceptance test. It was good to go. So can you imagine what that would look like if you had this system up and running 12 weeks from now in your facility? How could that help you? But again, 12-month ROI, and we really helped their safety operations make this a better application, and they were able to reallocate some of their labor to more value-add tasks. Perfect. Are we ready to go into a little Q&A? I hope you guys have some good questions.
Well, thank you so much, Mandy, for this delightful presentation. Yes, I will go straight to the question just to not waste any time. And let me see, we have one from Kate Rogers. She's asking, is the 50-pound payload including the weight of end of arm tool or after its attachment?
Yes, so the robot rating, and I'll tell you, so you saw the UR10, the UR20, usually that number within the robot is the payload for it. And that includes the weight of the end of arm tool and the case there. So we do need to include that. So kind of if you're right on that hair edge of 50, 60 pounds, we need to factor in the end of arm tool there.
Super, thank you so much. And now another question from Sunny Mac. Now the question is, does Vention also provide software to record performance of the cobot like an MES?
Absolutely. That's part of our Operate package that we do offer. It's included for the first year. You'll be able to see all the KPIs. You'll be connected to our remote support team to get service anytime you need. And then you will also be able to have a remote view. So we'll set almost like a security camera outside of your cell pointing down at it. So even if you're at home and you get a call at 2 a.m. that something's wrong with your machine, you could be able to log in on your computer or your phone. You'll be able to see that really quickly to see if there's just something that simply needs to be moved or replaced there. Yes, all of that's included.
Yeah, so, excuse me, our software are amazing. I have another question from Matt from St. Louis. Can we have a team to install the Rapid Series palletizer at our warehouse, and what does it cost?
Yeah, absolutely. And if this is one of your first robotic palletizers, I highly recommend having our team come in. We're going to set everything up, make sure it hits all your standards, and there'll also be a lot of value-add training involved with that. You're not going to be a robotic expert by the end of it, but you will know a lot about all the common faults, how to solve those. We do offer that. It's going to depend based off what you're looking at, but we will include that in pricing. We can break that out for you.
Also, there is Lloyd in Seattle. He asked, since there are so many different types of palletizer, can Vention help me decide before I start the design?
Absolutely. Please contact me before you waste any time. I would love to walk through that with you. There's so many different models between whether it's a standard cobot one or even an industrial one. I'd be happy to help you walk through and let you know what's going to be your best direction with robotic palletizing.
Well, wonderful. It was amazing. Thank you so much, Mandy. Great information, very enlightening. And for us folks, that's a wrap. Once again, we were not able to answer all questions, but rest assured we will reach out to you and send you information via email. So once again, thank you, and we hope to see you at our next webinar. In the meantime, if you have any questions, if you need more information and did not write your question during this webinar, not a worry, please reach out to us. And once again, we'll be there for you. Take care. Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye.